invocation led by Pastor Micah Gaston, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we ask that you would give this council leaders of our city wisdom and discernment to make the right decisions for the good of our city and for the good of the people of our city. God, we ask you to give them courage to make the tough decisions, to rise above the political climate, to do what's best for the city people of it. God, we ask that you would give them hearts to seek justice and love mercy for the people of our city and the good of it. We ask you to give them a spirit of cooperation, that they be willing to work together to make those tough choices to help our city to grow and prosper. And God, we lift up the leadership of our city. Pray that you would always keep them humble and approachable, that they would be leaders for the city and for the people of our city and for the good of our city. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory. Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see each and every one of you. All right. Here you good shepherd. The rules of the council are as follows. We ask first that you would turn off or silence all of your electronic devices upon entering the meeting. If you desire to speak before the council, you must indicate the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, we ask that you clearly state for the record your name and your address. Anyone who would like to speak on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office on the Thursday prior to the Tuesday that you'd like to speak. The business must be pertinent to the city of Mobile. If you haven't given proper notice to the clerk's office, then you won't be allowed to address the council. All speakers are given 5 minutes. The bell will sound to indicate the end of 4. That will leave you 1 minute remaining for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. And it'll be my job to enforce those time restraints. And I know a bunch of individuals, so it's not personal. We're letting you know up front that it's 5 minutes with 1 minute remaining at the very end for summarizing. When addressing the council, there's to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to me, the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Those are the rules of the Mobile City Council. Thank you for your interest in your municipal government.
Approval of minutes of December 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved.
Communication to the mayor.
None at this time.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on December 15th on Lapine Drive.
So moved.
You've been for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion and second. All any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Marty O'Malley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here for to let you know about the Mobile Marathon, which used to be called the First Light Marathon. And in August, our committee decided to change the name to continue promoting the city of Mobile And so we're proud to announce that the 18th annual marathon will happen on January 13th. Like last year, if you remember, we also coordinated what we called the Unity Walk, and it was in conjunction with the Martin Luther King Jr. weekend events. And this year, working with People United, the decision was made to continue the Unity Walk. So last year we had 30 groups that walked 1 mile of the marathon, and we had a banner that was passed on from group to group. The theme was, do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly. And really, we were very impressed with how the city came together as one group to promote our unity. So I just want to inform you of the name change, the date. Also, we're interested in trying to get more than 30 groups this year. So if each council person would like to walk 1 mile of the marathon, what happens is you walk 1 mile, and then when you get to the end of your mile, we shuttle you back to where you parked. So all you're doing is 1 mile, except for one council person who's done, our balloon person, which he has done 5 miles, well, actually 6.2. So I just encourage you to participate, send out information to your constituents to bring our city together in unity around the marathon. Thank you. And just the other information, this year is L'Arche Mobile's 45th anniversary. And I think many people have met Willie, who's been with us for 44 years. And Willie has always been the official starter of the marathon. He suffered a stroke last year and was unable to attend the marathon, but he's been practicing. Great. So his goal this year is to be at the starting line with his walker to set the starting. Oh, that's great. So, great. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for what you do. Yes, sir.
Geraldine London.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Geraldine Rushing London. I live at 1169 Heron Lake Circle, Mobile, 36693. Last week, I heard the response from Chief Financial Officer Paul Wash describe why the administration would not provide the funding to Lad People Stadium as dictated by the council. I was shocked that suddenly the administration expressed concern about not having any oversight of expenditures by the board. I find that thought troubling because the administration planned to provide funding to the University of South Alabama. I'm aware that as a state agency, the university would have to comply with state bid acts. However, state bid rules, I'm sorry. However, citizens of Mobile would have lost representation provided by the council once the funding would have been provided to the university. How convenient the administration did not see lack of representation as an issue at that time. Mrs. Ann Davis described the upgrades to the stadium during her presentation last week. Some of the upgrades would be considered capital improvements. I would imagine that is not the first capital improvement that the board has undertaken. Why now is it an issue that the stadium board be in charge of capital improvements? I urge the City Council to vigorously proceed to ensure that Ladd Stadium Board receives the funding as dictated in the amended budget. Mobile has a weak mayor and strong council form of government. Use whatever vehicle available to you to ensure that the council wishes are implemented. As you are aware, the council represents its constituents. The courts exist for a purpose. I certainly propose that the issue, along with the other concerns, be resolved without litigation. I would hope that they could be resolved without litigation. However, if litigation is the only way to resolve this issue, move forward, full speed ahead.
Wesley Young.
I'd like to to say good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Wesley Young. I reside at 3058 James Street, Mobile, Alabama. I'm here this morning, first of all, to just ask one simple question. That is, where is the 5% raise across the board raise that was given by this council during the budget process to the employees of the city of Mobile? As of this date, they have not received that raise as of yet. Have there been any progress into that action? So I take that as a no. I just want to go and let you all know that we don't live in Russia. We don't live in China. We don't live in North Korea. We live in the United States of America. And each one of our governments, from the presidency to the governors to the mayor, there are checks and balances. You all are checks and balances. When you all receive the budget from the mayor, you have the authority to do the amendments. You did the amendments, 10 of those amendments, by a 6-0 vote. That budget went back to the mayor. His responsibility at that time is to do one or two things. Either he can pass it as you amend it, or he can veto it. If he decides to veto it with a supermajority, you override the veto. And within 10 days, that budget should become law. That's not happening in our government now. It seems now that instead of us having a democracy, we have a dictator. We are not going to live in this city with a dictator. We're going to live in this city under a democracy in which this government formed. In 1985, the Zagat Act was passed, and it clearly states to you all on page 4, 7, and 10, your responsibility and the mayor's responsibility. You shouldn't play games with the budget because you're dealing with people's lives and their livelihoods. There are things in this city to be done all over the city. And each one of those of you as council members represent some employees that I represent that live in your district. These families are hurting. They need that 6% raise. If the mayor want to do an incentive raise, I have no problem with that. But that 5% raise across the board, we need to implement that raise. If you have to go into a court of law and let a judge determine that, do what you have to do. It's taxpayers' money. It's been done before by the administration. I can cite you a case that was done for 2 years, 9 months, and 33 days. One employee was fought in court from the personnel board to the circuit court to the state of Alabama Supreme Court, sent the case back to the Alabama Circuit Court of Appeals. We won on every level. They spent taxpayers' money. Now, you can spend taxpayer money to make sure these employees receive their raise, and last stadium get that $750,000, the library get their $500,000, and take care of every citizen in this city the way it should be done. We cannot have one Mobile unless we treat all Mobile the same. Thank you.
David Preston.
Thank you. Mr. Vice President, members of this council, I rise today to voice...
Mr. Preston, we need your name and address,
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry. My name is David Preston. I live at 4161 Winchester Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36693. Mr. Vice President, members of this council, I rise today to voice my dismay at our mayor's recent actions. My mayor, the mayor I voted for twice. I am dismayed that our mayor has chosen to sue you as a body for actions that are solely of his own making. The actions this council has taken that the mayor is currently contesting in court are only taken after the mayor violated the bonds of trust he formed with you when he and he alone fired your council spokesperson. Every subsequent action taken by this council resulted from one action. Furthermore, this mayor is violating the trust this council and this city has entrusted with him by my understanding, to this point, refusing to sign 2019 fiscal year budget. It is this mayor's statutory responsibility to either sign the budget within 10 days or send it to your city clerk within 10 days with his objections in writing. Section 52 of the Zogby Act states that if the mayor shall disapprove of any expenditure line item contained in the budget transmitted to him by the council, he shall, within 10 days of the time of the passage by the council, return the same to the clerk with his objections in writing. The word shall is important because, according to the Merriam-Webster's Law Dictionary, when used in or regulation, the word shall is a directive that expresses what is mandatory. The mayor has told the multiple media outlets that he will not sign a budget that he feels puts the city into a federal grant related to the Gulf Quest Museum. That sounds like an objection to me. And the Zogby Act is clear and unambiguous what the mayor is to do when he has an objection to a budgetary line item. By refusing to sign the budget and uphold his statutory responsibility, this mayor is depriving this council of its right to exercise its power granted to it by the Zogby Act to consider the mayor's objections and either affirm them or override them. I hope that this council will take the opportunity given to him by this mayor to seek judicial clarification on this point and get an order from a judge to force the mayor to uphold his statutory responsibility through a countersuit against the mayor in his recent lawsuit. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Small?
I have a question to ask, not to you. Thank you for coming, though. We had a citizen to come down and say he voted for the mayor twice, and you know, he's disappointed is what's going on in this city government today. But one thing that he stated, excuse me, that he pointed out that the budget was not signed by the mayor. And I would like to ask the administration, you know, is that information is true or not?
He didn't sign it. Did he sign it? I can't recall. He signed that one.
Is it on the website?
He did not sign it. He didn't sign it.
He didn't. Mr. Richardson?
Did the mayor sign the budget?
He did not express his objections to it. He did not sign.
Did the mayor sign the budget?
No.
So does that mean it's...
Mr. Vice President, I want to go back and just see the administration that is present. Are they aware that the mayor did not sign the budget or not?
We're checking on that for you. We're checking on that for you. And I can tell you this, the budget has not been finalized and put on the website at this time. I can tell you that.
No, it's not on the website. It should be. They don't have nothing to hide.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Small?
is it possible I can ask the administration one more time that this clarification that you're not sure if the mayor signed the budget or not?
No, he hasn't signed the budget. And I'll tell you this, typically what happens is we have to go through and fix all the anomalies before the mayor actually signs the budget. This is not any different from years past. So the short answer, Mr. Chairman, is no, the mayor has not signed the budget. However, that is not because of some veto or lack of veto. That is because of anomalies that we haven't fixed for accounting purposes. And so if you recall, in the past, if we had to do that every year, you have to go back and fix numeric issues and things of that sort. This time, we have things that are more complicated than numeric issues.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Small?
if I may ask the administration, so since the mayor did not sign the budget, are we working on last year's budget still? How are we operating as a city?
So that's a better question is for Mr. Wesh, but the fact that we've actually passed the budget, we've gone forward with it, we are operating, and we can operate under the current budget. We can.
The current budget is in 18-19 or 17-18?
18-19.
I have a question to our attorney. Is that legal?
Again, I can't give you a simple answer to that question because there are lots of layers. The first layer is if there are anomalies, the council is the body to fix them. And so I'm not sure what that means. Secondly, the Zogby Act says that if the budget is for some reason not passed, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the city continues on the prior year's budget. So that's a serious issue about which budget So I guess that's just to say, if there could be some communication, I've listened to several people identify problems, but I haven't actually seen it in writing. So again, if we could get a written communication from either the finance director or Mr. Woods about these are the problems we see in the budget and this is how they should be solved, that would be very helpful, and we could just kind of move forward.
In all candor, at least one of those problems has been put in writing, has been transmitted to council, and I'm talking about Amendment 7. So that one has been put out there. Just letting you all know.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I would like for you, if possible, to write a letter to the mayor asking him, are we operating under 17-18 budget or 18 or 19 budget? Because if he did not sign a legal document, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't understand how can we be operating off of 18-19 if he did not sign it. And also like for our attorney to investigate this a little bit more, because if he's not operating, if he did not sign the budget, he's not operating at 18-19 and he's still in 17-18, you know, what actions as we as a council need to go ahead and go forth and take? Because again, my knowledge of us that I had, excuse me, I speak for my office, that the mayor had signed the budget, but and we was operating on the 18-19. Now I'm just now have, you know, or praise or knowledge now that he has not signed it, and I have very, you know, great concerns as in, you know, are we legally operating as a city, especially if he did not sign the budget, but yet he's operating off of 18 and 19. It's a lot of unanswered questions there for me, and I'd like for those questions to be answered by our attorney and also by the mayor. Thank you.
I'll get that drafted this afternoon, Mr. Small.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson?
I am greatly disturbed. I'm greatly disturbed over what I hear, that they're working on it, trying to fix it. What the council does is final. You can't fix the budget. You can't amend the budget. Only the council can amend the budget. You can't fix the budget. He can the budget and operate. If it's something he won't amend it, he can submit to the council. They can't have the budget in some room fixing it. If it is, it's illegal. That's illegal action. I am disturbed over this. I don't know all what's going on, but something is going on, and whatever's going on, it doesn't appear to be right to me. Something is going on. We have passed the budget. We're operating off the budget from what I heard, but the budget hasn't been signed because some anomalies in there that's got to be fixed. Only the council can fix it. And no one told me nothing about no anomaly. I haven't heard anything about an anomaly. An anomaly is something, it's very unusual. It's not recurring. If it's an anomaly, it means that this is something showed up that we have not hardly seen before. So it looks like they got a lot of anomalies. We passed it in October, we are around near January, and they're still trying to work the anomalies out. Something is wrong.
Mr. Chairman, so let me make two corrections. One is from a legal standpoint. One, we're not talking about this here. What we're talking about is what we've done every year for the last 5 years that I've been here at least. Anytime you have a mathematical or grammatical problem where things just don't line up, say for instance you move a particular amount of money but don't make specifications where it adds up and it balances out, that has to be fixed. Finance department is actually working on that. I talked to them probably last week about it. They're working on those issues and what we do and to go forward. The second thing is we're not talking about an amendment to the budget, which may happen further down the line, but just a point of fact, in order for an amendment to occur, the mayor has to put that in front of the council. But I'm not talking about an amendment. I'm talking about mathematical and grammatical issues that you have to look into the budget and take care of to make sure it lines up. We've done that in the past. We did it last year and the year before that. So I'm not talking about some major issues. I don't want you to mix and mingle what we're talking about as far as the political issues that you are talking about, which I try to stay out of. And then two, not the amendment, but the making sure that you take care of any inaccuracies or any anomalies, whether it be with addition, grammar, things of that sort, or amendments. And there is an issue that I have put in writing and put to the city council's attorney dealing with one of the issues.
Did you have anything else, Mr. Cochran?
If I understood what I heard, the administration has identified anomalies, errors in the budget, and they are taking the position that those can be fixed unilaterally. He might be right, but it seems to me that common sense would dictate that if you have found a problem with a budget, and it's a complicated document, that a compendium of those problems should be communicated to the council so that they can have an opportunity to correct that. I do not believe a unilateral changing of the budget is allowed.
It's not. It's not.
And no useful, there is no, and I'm happy to hear that finance is working on that. That's a very good thing. And no useful purpose is achieved by piecemealing it. There needs to be a comprehensive listing of what finance believes the anomalies are so that the council can properly address that. Because you say a typo to you is not a typo to somebody else.
So if you recall, so I would agree with Ms. Cochran just said. It's not unilateral. If you're talking about omissions and errors and mathematical issues with the budget, that can be done in conjunction with the council and the mayor administratively. And that's what we did the last time. And I think problem is memories aren't just that long, and so much comes from the council that it's not necessarily there. But in the past, and I understand that Ms. Cochran is fairly new to the council, or council attorney, but that's what we've done, is put that in front of you. So that information is being compiled, but there is no reason to piecemeal it. We wouldn't do so. We haven't done so in the past. We won't do so now. So making sure that we put together the actual information of what's wrong. Now, there are some issues that are going to be intermingled with the back and forth that's going on between the council and the mayor, but that's beside the point. What we're talking about is mathematical and grammatical errors dealing with omissions and things of that sort, and how things are going to work going forward.
But are those errors both mathematical and from a grammar standpoint so awesome that, you know, some 2 months after we pass the budget, it still isn't official?
Absolutely. So what you have to think about is the finance department doesn't just stop working on the budget. They're continuously. Some of these are rather confusing and complex, and the budget is a moving operational item. It's taken this long in the past. It'll take this long now. It takes how long it takes. But they don't just stop and work on the budget. There are other things that they're doing to run the daily operations of the city. So to the extent we're asking going forward, the council has passed the budget. Let me also make this point. Council's passed the budget, but the budget is an authorization to spend, but not a mandate to spend based on the way we've operated. And so to the extent we're dealing with operations going forward, we're operating under 2018, 2019. You've passed the budget. That budget has been authorized, and we're looking at abnormalities, errors, and omissions where it does not make sense. To piecemeal. We're asking that you at least give us time to put all the information together and get it in front of you so we can do exactly what we've passed.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Williams.
First of all, a question to the council, our legal counsel. When you say, when the city attorney refers to number 7, he's talking about the raises with regard to public services. Are you in receipt of a written objection to that amendment? Just a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I don't see that. But and then just for the general audience, I read very specifically on September 25th each amendment, and each one of those had an increase and a decrease that was equal.
Amen.
So if there were any addition problems that are referred to, those additions, the addition errors were present prior to the amendments.
Amen.
And so I just want to make that very clear that I didn't make a mathematical error in my reading, and those all of our meetings are in archives. You can go to our website and look for September 25th. At the end of the meeting, fast forward and see if there were any mathematical errors. But every increase and decrease was equal, and it came from a balance that existed at some point. And the only thing that I will agree with right now with with the council, with the city's attorney, is that we cannot mandate spending at this point through the budget. We can through contract, but through the budgeting process, just because we fill a line doesn't mean the mayor has to spend that at that point. If we empty a line, it says that the mayor may not spend that money. So as we move forward, I just want to lay that basis down. Thank you very much.
Any money that we put in a line, if it's not spent, it cannot be moved unless the council moves it. It would appear to me, if we want to reduce all the discussion to its lowest level, that this council was submitted a fake budget, trying to make it real so the mayor can sign it. We were submitted a fake budget. We thought the budget was real. It's like Councilman Williams said, whatever we add or deducted, we made sure it balanced. We didn't make the budget not balanced. It was balanced. What our action was balanced out. Seemed like to me it's a greater problem that they submitted something to us that was fake, and we were operating as though it was for real, and they are now trying to make it real because we don't need no fake budget. And I don't need nobody coming down here telling me that the budget has not been signed. That's too crucial. That's too crucial. There's no transparency. If they found all of those kind of problems, someone should have notified the council. Listen, we have found these problems. We're working on it. I never heard any of that before. No one told us when it's going to be fixed. We could be working on this until the next budget. Something is wrong, because those I know many of those people in the accounting office. They are professionals, and then we have an auditor. We have an auditing firm. We have had no auditing firm to come back to tell us that something was wrong, this and the other. I will be looking at the auditor's report real close this time to see what the auditors got to say, because something is wrong.
Well, it just so happens, as we're talking about these very important issues, that our finance director is here. Hopefully he can shed some light on, if he's brought up to speed on the discussion, you can shed some light on where we are relative to the budget. There's been some commentary offered that the budget has not been signed due to some anomalies, both mathematical and grammatical. And so we're trying to understand exactly what level of anomaly, how many anomalies, where did the anomaly start, where does it stop, and who's going to solve the anomaly. So we've got an anomaly gate going on, and we need to figure out how to handle it.
Well, Mr. Vice President, there is one anomaly that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of a grammatical anomaly. There could be one. There was a mathematical error in the amendment as it related to performance contracts, somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. That I'm hoping that we can solve the way we have solved similar errors in the past, which would be administratively through your finance committee, and the administration with a letter and an agreement as to where that difference should be made up. In other words, there's a shortage of between $3,000 and $4,000 in the performance contracts. More was amended into performance contracts than was subtracted from other areas. But I don't see that as a problem. That's something that I can take up with you or Mr. Daves.
Well, I was just having that discussion with Councilman Daves about the potential of having a finance committee meeting if necessary, that you all could present the anomalies and we can analyze them, look them over and all of that. But if it's something that you all can work out with the council's concurrence, we can task Mr. Daves with working with Mr. West and then letting us know what you find out.
This should be no different in kind and no different really in magnitude from that which we've handled in prior years.
Yeah, Mr. Vice President.
Yes, sir.
I've been sitting here quietly, but now that Mr. Wesh has mentioned the fact that we haven't addressed this in the past, it has refreshed my recollection. And I remember that we have in the past, with respect to these budgets, had these similar issues before, and I can't recall. I can't recall whether we have. I know you have communicated about it. I can't recall, frankly, whether we ended up taking that to the council or not, or I assigned a letter or something like that. It just seems like.
As I recall, and my memory is perfect too, you know, these matters come out usually within a few weeks or a month or so of the budget.
These have all been de minimis in nature.
Yes. Yeah. And I think what we've done in the past is you have consulted with the president, or in this case the vice president, to make sure that what we're dealing with are not material, right, and that they are appropriate to be handled administratively. And then the administration has executed a letter with the council to that effect, and then the budget's been signed.
I'll be happy to work with Mr. West.
Okay. Mrs. Rich?
Right. I do hope it can be resolved either through full knowledge of the killer or through indication from our finance chair. To your knowledge, and we heard last week about the LAD, but have the performance contracts gone out to be signed by the groups so that they can start getting their allocations that they expect annually?
Some have, and some are still in process. As you may recall, the administration, once the performance contract numbers have stopped moving around, the administration sends out a request for information from each of the entities that seeks to identify the public purposes and the specific uses for the funds. Then a performance contract is designed and drafted and passes through legal, and then that goes to the
so
performance contract.
So that's in progress now with all of the groups?
You know, other than the several weeks that we were delayed by the discussions about potential amendments, we're on the same track that we have been in the past.
Okay.
We've also, I should say, we've been sensitive to those who have called and described a particular time-sensitive need. So those are kind of going out first.
Mrs. Gregory?
Mr. Wesh mentioned work with some of the groups, and I had reached out to him about one of the groups who has a need for some funding pretty quickly. They are in a situation where they are expecting the funds to come a little faster than what they are. So what we are doing is we are concurrently sending out the performance contracts and at the same time sending the letter to the mayor to release the funds so that hopefully everything will get done at the same time and that the funds will be released. I think going forward for these performance contractors, it would help that are listed on the budget when we get it. You probably have this already, but to have all of that information updated in-house so that when we pass the budget, then all you have to do is send those performance contracts to get them signed. And that'll probably expedite things a little bit. Because I thought that before they even made it to the budget anyway, we would have to go through and make sure that they were all qualified to get the funds, and then you certainly put the information out there that these funds are intended for probably one-time use for seed money and that sort of language that I know we used to have in those sorts of documents. But anything we can do, obviously, to expedite the process, I'm sure they would all appreciate.
That's right. And many of, they're all different. And in many cases, a performance contractor simply through, not paying attention is not forwarded information throughout the year that's required. So we have to have a little back and forth, where's your audit? Oh, well, we didn't get an, well, you need to get an audit. And so there are some delays in getting the information and processing it, but there shouldn't be anything that's insurmountable.
Yeah, I don't think that they always understand exactly what we need from them. They probably think if they got the funding last year, they had the information to us last year, then they're still good to go, and don't understand that every year we have to redo all of this.
That's correct.
And update it.
Any further questions or comments? Mr. Richardson?
Yes. Mr. Welsh, on the $750,000 that the council voted to give Ladd Stadium, where we are with that?
Mr. Richardson, really where we were last week, have nothing further to add.
So the position is the mayor does not intend to give them that amount of money?
Not at this time.
Okay. What is he has in the plans for it? What's the rationale?
I'm sorry?
What is the rationale for the mayor not?
Well, that's what I provided last week, and really there's no update to that.
Well, it seems to me last week the rationale was that there may have something like maybe an overspending in litigation. They might need the money for that. You submitted us a budget, and you told us what you planned, what the plan was. You gave us the financial report, and we are doing better than what we planned to do. So if we are taking in more money than we planned, how can we not give the contract based on the fact we may not have enough money when we get more money than we ever had? How can you claim we might not have enough money? We're taking, when you gave us the report, that we're not going down, we're going up. So it's reasonable to believe that the city would have enough money to do whatever it planned to do. So I don't see how that rationale can hold water, the justification for not giving them the money.
I'm not sure there's a question in there. I understand the comment, though.
Well, Ms. Richardson, will you finish?
Yeah.
Mrs. Rich?
I think although it's the first lead, so we'll rest it, some of these things that seem to be problematic, especially when it comes to performance contracts, will be spelled out so that there's timeline for producing the information. And I'm very encouraged that that will pass, but it's the first time out for the administration to look over and to question as well. But the idea that we have a performance contract that this council increased, which I've seen that done in other budgets in the past, where the desire for the council to the consensus of at least 4. We had 6 going into this budget cycle at all times, making all of the amendments, approving all of the amendments. And this performance contract, the groups that are working with the city indeed are looking forward to it, and having a timeline spelled out, I think, will be very, very helpful in the future. So it's one of the reasons I support the ordinance.
Well, I certainly agree. I agree with the funding for Ladd Stadium, and I'm hopeful that if the funding as appropriated in this year's budget into the administration's liking, then you ought to find a way to accomplish the goal according to standards that you all have set. But the walking trail ought to move forward. The improvements to Ladd Stadium ought to move forward because it's clear that there is support. There's, a lot of people would like to put Ladd on its last legs, and every time it keeps coming back like a phoenix. And so it's clear that it's the intention of the majority of this council to support Ladd. We hundreds of people who utilize that space to exercise. We build walking trails all over this city. So there ought to be a first-class walking trail there at Ladd Stadium. It all goes to counter, and I see what Mr. Woods is saying, because it's on the periphery of all of these political issues that we're really kind of arguing about at this point. All of it's good things, all of it's positive. So I would hope if the way that we did it wasn't the way you wanted to be done, let's find a way to get it done so that the improvements still take place and the walking trail still moves forward. And I'm still for the 5% raise for the service workers. I don't know how much time we spent trying to put all of that together when we asked for assistance and got the amount that we did. And it's not being against the incentive. I think they're worthy of both of them if we have the resources to do it. But the 5% is going to go toward the actual take-home, and it's something that they're going to be able to retire on. And that makes a big difference. And so we're at a stalemate, and I realize it. And I'm appreciative of those who come down and continue to come down to bring it to our attention. It's not falling on deaf ears. And we're going to have to go down what we have to go down. And that's unfortunate. But sometimes those are the roads you must trod, and we're going to do it. Any other comments from the council?
Yes, Vice President.
Mr. Small.
I would like to say to the mayor and administration not to punish Ladd Stadium. Myself personally, I go out to Ladd Stadium some mornings and walk. And that's an opportunity for people in that neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods to get up and live a healthy lifestyle. This has been going on for years. People in that community, nearby community, go to the Ladd Stadium and walk. One time around Ladd Stadium equals 1 mile, and I enjoy it myself personally. But when it was, I feel like Ladd is now being punished because the situation of another stadium in town did not get its blessings from the council. So it's like now we're going to punish Ladd. Now I'm just sitting up here thinking about the times that the citizens in that community that I represent also, because Ladd is in District 2, it's not in District 3, just a street over, that's it. But I still have constituents that live by Ladd, and has came to me and says, Small, our concern is that the money gonna go out to West Mobile and South gonna get their stadium, and this Maysville is gonna leave it, blank, it's gonna be blighted. And I said, no, it's not gonna be like that. I said, I believe in economic development, and I was willing to vote for the USA money because I just didn't have no idea that, the future of Ladd was trying to be leaned towards being a blighted piece of property. I asked the mayor and his administration that they would get my vote for USA if they can only just lay out the future for Ladd Stadium. Just lay it out for the citizens in the Maysville area, the citizens that I represent would know, hey, we're not trying to get rid of Ladd Stadium. I said, once you do that, and members of this council can witness this, once you do that, I will vote to give South Alabama the money. The only thing I'm asking is a roadmap for Ladd. And today, with them, the administration and the mayor is not willing to commit the $750,000 that this council had approved in a budget to give to Ladd. I really think that my constituents that I represent was correct. That the plan was to really just close down Ladd, to make that Maysville area blighted and just have no future whatsoever. I kind of regret it, at one time by not supporting USA because I know it's an economic development. But now I see what the citizens was talking about, and I'm glad that I did support my decision to not to vote for South. Because again, the future of LAD, I still have questions in my mind. Is this city going to support what it owns? Thank you, Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. Schmo. And you and I are kind of on the same page. I was right there, similar to your stance on South Alabama, but I'm also proud, even without the city's assistance, they're going right on and doing what they wanted to do anyway. They hadn't missed one beat, not one beat. They can build just what they wanted to build. It's going to be just as nice and just as fancy, and not one dime of city money will be in it. So that's a win for everybody, in my opinion. I look forward to going to a game. Any other commentary? I have forgotten where we are on the agenda.
We're on
presentations.
Petitions and other communications to the council.
All right.
Reggie Hill.
All right.
Madam Clerk, what is Mr. Hill speaking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Hill is speaking on Ordinance 14034.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, in the absence of our mayor to the administration, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good morning. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. As stated, I rise today to speak about the Ordinance 14-034. I ask that you be patient with me as I've only had today to review over this, but I had a few questions and I hope that they can be entertained. It's rather confusing in here today. We look at the idea of a very fiscally conservative administration, but where we wanted to utilize taxpayers' dollars to go to the court system. So I'm really confused about this as well. And then we look at the idea of the performance contracts not being out for whatever mathematical errors. And one of the examples provided by the finance director was about an audit. Me being the person that requested a performance contract, know that that's one of the first questions that is asked of those people that are going to get performance contracts. So again, this is just very confusing. I don't understand how these things can come up to prevent what we're supposed to be doing. And that final piece about the balancing and mathematical errors as well with the budget, regardless of what that is, once that's amended, maybe I'm confused about the Zombie Act, and that's why I need some insight of it. It's leading into it, Councilman Davis, I promise you.
But what you need to do, you need to walk right up to it. Right up, we got to stick to the rules, Mr. Hill. You know the rules.
I believe that this is in complete compliance because all of this stuff that I mentioned is identified under the Zombie Act. So I think that with this main piece, 14-034, reflecting primarily on every single page here, something different did the Zombie Act and the Alabama Code. I think that I'm in complete compliance with what I'm supposed to do addressing the council.
What we just discussed.
Always saying, Mr. Hill, you have 5 minutes.
I understand.
And we're asking you to stick to what you signed in to address.
Well, I asked that clarification please not be counted against my 5 minutes.
Well, it's going to be counted against because you had 5 minutes from the beginning. 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll move on with my questions. If we look at Section 14.1, letter D and E specify the idea of the contract, and I'm trying to see where it says the management of control of the finances shall be deemed to the council. Can we get a definition of what the control of the finances is referring to? Because there seems to be quite a bit of confusion as to where the money is given regarding contracts and expenditures for the city.
Madam Councilor.
So the council primarily exercises its financial control through the budgeting process.
Okay, and then it says the council has previously authorized the mayor to execute certain contracts without council approval. Is that simply those items that are less than $5,000, or are there any other descriptions describing what that is?
They're all listed in 266 of the city code, which is less than $7,500 is one. but there are some others.
Okay. And I was really impressed by letter F of this section. The purpose of this ordinance is to promote transparency in the contracting process. I'm not going to spend my time on that question, but I will advise the council and the administration, and I hope this is a pilot form of being more than just a contracting process, because there seems to be a lacking of transparency just in general, and what ends up being the result is that it hinders the citizens, and we have to continuously come down here asking for opportunities to get things done for us when each of these people are put here in position to work for the city. I've often also heard that it's always a privilege for us to come here. I believe the privilege is taxpayer dollars being afforded.
Mr. Hill, that's your 1 minute. And please, Mr. Hill, let's stick to what you signed in to speak.
That's exactly what I signed in to speak about, sir.
You didn't sign in to speak about privileges, speaking privilege. You signed in to speak about this ordinance 14-034.
Which will give great privilege to the council, correct?
But it has nothing to do with speaking privileges.
Okay.
All I'm asking is that you stick to.
Well, I'll ask I had more questions. And I maybe have to submit the other depending on the timing. What is the difference between contract as defined in the definition on section 14.2 and contracts in judicial proceedings that is in that last statement of the clause?
I can answer that for you. There's a section of state law that allows the mayor to file bonds in judicial proceedings. Sometimes cases require the mayor to sign things, and that allows him to do that.
Okay, my final question.
That's your time, Mr. Hill.
But I believe her time in answering my question was on my time. It's only one question, Mr. Chairman. I asked that you would allow me.
You could submit it in writing.
Submit it in writing. I told everybody when I made the rules, I said, even if I know you, we have to have these five. I said it very clearly at the beginning.
Even with the interference.
Mr. Hill, your time, brother.
Okay.
Submit your letter with your questions, and we'll get our attorney to respond to them appropriately.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Irene Anton. Oh.
She needs a microphone.
But this one, she can talk.
Ms. Anton, what is?
Ms. Anton is addressing 21845.
Thank you.
That's the sidewalks.
Good morning. My name is Irene Anton. I live at 2202 Clinton Street, Mobile, Alabama. And I'm addressing this clip money. I received a letter from our council person that had been sent to the mayor before. The mayor said he didn't get the letter. I don't know about that. But we are supposed to have sidewalks from Somerville to Florida Street Extension. That's for Holloway kids walking to school. And the other direction to LaFleur High School. On that side of Somerville, they have sidewalks. But 20 years ago, we stopped the city buses from coming down. City buses coming down that street because of that. The city buses go hard. Now, we have one public school bus that still come down that street. And I have called Mr. Tucker and everything that I'm supposed to do as good shepherd of District 1 and Mobile. So I told him in essence, and I want to tell you all, if one of those kids get hurt, ran over, and anything, they're going to be responsible. Everybody on that street is in agreement with me. And we have 2 safe houses just in case something happened for those kids going to LaFleur and Holloway. So I want to know and I talked to Mr. Peavy. I drew a map on a piece of paper, showing him, and then the engineering man and all that stuff. So we want to know, when can we expect progress or on that street, if it is going to be or if it isn't. And one more thing, I've gone to county meetings every now and then. I know this is what it's about, and they have laying out there everything, the bills paid, everything out there, what you've already seen. All you got to do is pick up the paper and read it. And our thing, I was an accountant for 40 years for the Mobile Public Schools, and the way we do our accounting in this building, I don't know nothing when I go home, and I can't tell nobody. I can't say 1 and 1 is 2, and 3 and 1 is 2.
Ms. Antone.
Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to put plain rude to you, Ms. Antone.
You're right, sir.
You speak.
You're right.
You're going to have to stick to the issue that you signed in to speak on.
You're right, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I've finished, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Ann Davis regarding ordinance 14034.
Davis, can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I on? Oh, there we go. Ann Davis, 967 Westbury Drive, Mobile. Okay. I'm going to stick to it like the ordinance, of which I want to thank y'all for introducing this ordinance. I'm still very confused. What I read in it should make me happy. But I got to know you're going to stand by it and vote for it, because the circus that I have been listening to, we're the anomaly. Okay? I received my contract, finally. There's $200,000 in there. So I could have told you the mayor hadn't signed the contract. And I'm not signing it. That's my legal advice. And I hope that you did this ordinance seriously, because I'm not an employee. I am a volunteer. I heard what they've said about us writing contracts. Did you read what I sent y'all about our duties, our statutes? Unless that's changed, we have those rights. And why wasn't the city worried about giving $10 million to South? Were they going to put their thumb on them? We get audited every year. They know exactly what we do. If we don't get that money soon, we have got the Dollar General Bowl in less than 2 weeks. What if we walk away? I'd love to see y'all or the city handle it. I can't keep doing this. Please pass this ordinance and make it stand. It's not right. This is probably off the subject. I did want to bring you 2 small pages of our new engineering report. I'll give it to her to make a copy. Go. Again, this has got to be over. Not only, please think about how hard it is operating the way we've been operating, but also with our reputation torn down. Mobile almost lost the Senior Bowl, not because of Ladd, because NFL people heard from the mayor's office that Ladd had a D+ rating.
It's Ladd. It's Ladd.
It is about the ordinance, because if you pass this ordinance...
Hold it. Ladies and
Fine,
gentlemen.
fine. This is, I understand. This is my last time. This is my last plea. You either give in or you do what you set out to do. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice President,
yeah, and
I have
Mr.
a comment to Ms. Ann.
Mrs. Gregory?
Yeah. First of all, Ms. Ann, I feel your pain.
Thank you.
I feel bad, and it's nothing that I have done, because you're not the only volunteer feel the same way that you are feeling. There are several other volunteers, and I do appreciate your hard work that you have been investing into LAD and also into the Maysville community. I really do appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
And keep on, because again, it's a volunteer job that you have, and that's something that you don't have to do, is your love and your desire. So I mean, when you love it and you desire something, you keep fighting for it, and keep on doing what you do. But Vice President, I was wondering if I can ask Ms. Ann one more other question.
Sure, yes, sir.
Ms. Ann, I know that last week you stated that, you all have another report coming out about LAD Stadium. When is that report is due? Or is
You're talking about the engineering report?
Yes.
Well, we received this report October 5th. The reason I haven't given it to you, it's 119 pages. But there's no, it talks about the deficiencies, talks about it's in fair condition for its age, but it doesn't give us a dollar amount. That's what we're waiting on. But, I mean, you're welcome. I can email you all 119 pages if you would like. I just don't want to be hounded by the press and by TV. I'm not an engineer. I don't want to speculate. That's all.
So if I go to LAD Stadium, it's not going to fall down on me, correct?
No, sir. No,
Yeah.
I bet my life on that. Thank you very much.
I made a post on something I usually don't do, but just out of general about last week, I made a post about people's thoughts about LAD Stadium. And, people, and you talk about my neighborhood, for the people that's put negative stuff out there about, putting down sidewalks for drug dealers and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't invest into anything and you don't put money towards anything, it's not going to be anything. And as long as we invest into our community and bring our community up, our community is going to be something. And I know that you don't live in the Maysville community, but thank you for your time and your effort that you are investing into that community to make our community, and I don't care if you live in the west side of Mobile, it's still our community a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. And you don't have to live there to love LAD.
Mrs. Gregory?
Thank you, and Ann, I do have one quick question for you, and I do want to thank you, the other members of the LAD board. Each council member appoints someone to serve on the LAD Stadium board, so thank you all for your work. I appreciate everything you all do to represent us on the LAD board. Just a quick question. You may not have this information in front of you, and I certainly understand, but we were talking about tracks and the LAD board's ability to perform work and that sort of thing. I was wondering about the dollar amount for projects that you all have done in the past. Do you know off the top of your head, and if not, just you can send it to us, the highest dollar amount of a project that you all have performed in the past? And then also, was it the Michigan group who was carrying it forward, and do y'all,
We vote on everything.
You vote on everything, but do you also bid it out?
Well,
and if you don't have all of this in front of you, just feel free to
but let me, can I give you one example? Sure. For instance, 2 years ago, our elevators were breaking, ordering new parts. We kept asking the city, please, we need new elevators. They said they would handle it. After 6 months, and let me back up. In the meantime, the Michigan group was, I say putting bids out, they were getting bids from different companies. Okay? After not hearing back from the city, they finally called them and said, we have got an estimate from the Bagby Elevator Company, whatever. They took it and they said, okay, we'll handle it. Well, they didn't handle it. So we kept calling, and finally they told us they were sorry it was taking so long. Now it was going to be too detailed because they would have to put out bids. So they asked us to do it, okay? We did it. We paid for it. It was almost $89,000. And then we had to get reimbursed from the city, which took about 6 months to do. We're right now spending, I want to say it's $58,000 to scrub, get up all the chewing gum, paint the quarters and all the bathrooms. I mean, I would have to look at the rest.
That's fine, and I know you'd have to do that. I was really curious about any one particular project that was pretty fair amount of money, like upwards of $500,000, something along those lines. If anything, have you all ever done anything like that? Or
we've never had the money.
Okay. If you would just look back through and just give us some of the projects that you all have done, that you have handled.
Oh, I can give you projects, I can find them, but I've been on there 10 years. We've never had that money. Okay. We had times when we had to get money from the city to pay the power bill.
Okay. So basically, the city has taken care of the maintenance, even though you might have initiated it and then they paid you back, or vice versa, something like that.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Mrs. Rich.
Ann, thank you so much. I sense your frustration, and it's justified.
Thank you.
On behalf of the district, we thank you for your time,
Turn your speaker on. Turn your mic on.
and your resources that you've brought to the table. I know that this administration asked the board to become independent, and you've done that and more. I know that the board is a creature of the Mobile City Council, and we inherently trust you because we put people that we trust to then go out and be empowered to make the difference, to make the facility the best it can be. So I'm hoping that this ordinance that you make reference to does help define and to delineate how things can take place, that everyone is aware exactly of the momentum. And it's not just, we used to do it this way, or this is a good way, we'll do it way this year, next year, whatever. So again, thank you so much. And do keep up the good fight, Ann. You're doing a great job. I get that from lots of people throughout the district.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else?
Again, thank you. Thank you to all. Mr. Richard Davis represents District 2. Lead is important. It's vital to that community. And its vitality is an emphasis point for this council. And we're going to, as you challenge us to take a stand, I believe you see that this particular ordinance is sponsored by 6 other 7 council members. So we're serious about what we're doing. We're serious about seeing these projects move forward. And I'm hopeful that all of this, wherever we are, can be resolved amicably in the very near future.
Thank you.
I think LAD needs to be a priority, and as long as it has good board members like you and Mr. Davis and others, I believe it will be. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much.
Madam City Clerk.
Consent resolutions held over. 4805, declare the structure at 1012 New St. Francis Street public nuisance and order it demolished.
I don't think you called out 14034. I know it's going to hold over.
These are consent resolutions held over.
I know, but ordinance is being introduced.
Yeah, we always do that.
That will come.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was on the wrong place on the agenda.
Okay. So we need a motion and a second to consider.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
I brought it up at pre-conference, and I know I don't represent the area, but the historic development and the character of the city is important. And I understand don't have legal counsel. I hope that the city would, and it is a board of this council, to find out whether if they would have had legal counsel that answered directly to them. There are other examples in our state. I don't know how they function for their ARB boards, and I don't even know the gentleman that contacted me, and I understand he contacted everybody. I answered, But I would like to think that we could slow this down. I understand the frustration that the council has about dealing with this and the surrounding properties being affected by it. But every time we lose something that's of historic of nature, I think we do lose a bit of our character. And I would like to request that we hold this over for 2 more weeks or until after the first of the year. The board is due to meet on the 19th. So if there could be a second to that.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Well, there's been a motion and a second. Now it's time for discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Mrs. Gregory.
I know we have discussed this at length for a number of months, and I also understand the frustration that the neighbors feel. I've certainly seen the property, and there is no doubt something needs to be done on this particular property. But like Mrs. Rich said, I just hate to see a piece of our history be demolished, to come down. I also understand that there is a bad problem with our audio system. I know that there is a 10-day appeal, and of course that's good, and also it will be about 90 days before the House would actually come down if this is passed today. Still, if there's any way possible, would love to give the ARB a chance to look at some other options. They may be out of options completely. Maybe if they did have some sort of independent counsel, they could have looked around more, done more to try to get this particular property settled. I don't know. I just hate to see another piece of Mobile history demolished and in the ground. We have way too much of that as it is. So that's why I have seconded Mrs. Rich's amendment to this, and will certainly vote in favor of the amendment.
Mr. Davis?
I'm going to oppose carrying this over again. We have been dealing with this piece of property now for, as has been pointed out, months. We have given the owner and any interested party multiple opportunities to come forward and rescue this property, which is collapsing. And it's not, when you go down there and look at this property and look around it, it's surrounded by people who have come into that community, bought historic homes, and refurbished them. And this is an eyesore, a dangerous eyesore in that community. I'm fully in favor of our doing whatever we can in order to save historic properties. But in this particular instance, I think we have done everything we can do to save this particular property, except to go out and spend tens of thousands of dollars of city money in order to stabilize it. For then what? So I'm going to oppose carrying it over again. I think it's time to act.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
We are not meeting in 2 weeks.
It would have to be 3 weeks, I realize.
So,
We're missing Christmas.
Right.
Our next meeting
Our next
after
meeting,
next
which would be
week.
January.
Yeah, January 3rd we're coming back, or 4th?
Ms. Richard?
Yes.
Yes.
I sort of feel like Councilman Dave, they told us this morning if we vote to demolish, it'll be about 3 months before demolition actually take place. So all those people who want to save this property will have 3 months to get their revenue together, put a plan together, and move forward. The owner of this property is clear. The owner's not going to do one thing, and all of us worried about this property. It's not the owner. And whatever we do with that property would embellish the owner. The owner going to sit back, say, we're just going to sit back and see if they're going to put their money in my house, and then I'm going to sell the house. I think if the house was in Trinity Garden, it'd have been gone. I think we're wasting time with this. I think we need to move on, and I would like, going forward, any house put on this agenda for us to demolish, I would like for them to give us the age of the house, because it's historic based on the age. And I guarantee you, more than 2/3 of the houses torn down in Crichton and Trinity Garden would have qualified to be historic. And there's no whining and moaning, nobody trying to save it. I would like for if they know the age of the house they're going to demolish, put it up here, see can we get somebody to fix them up all over the city. All over the city. But we have tried and tried and tried, put off and put off. I think we're at wit's end. I'm ready to vote.
And I agree with Councilman Davis and Councilman Richardson. This has been a plague on our agenda for months now. It's a plague on the community. And you got 3 months before, at least 3 months before anything would happen to it. So we're ringing the bell. We're sounding the alarm that if anybody is interested in 1012 New St. Francis Street, now is the time to start saying something. Because all of our other actions have gone and been met with inaction. And it's unfair to those who moved into that neighborhood and have spent untold amounts of money to build up their properties to have to deal with this blight in the middle of this neighborhood. I don't know where 2 weeks is going to do anything, but let the calendar spin. 3 weeks, it'll be the same answer in January as it is now. The owner isn't interested. We don't want to put $60,000 into it and still not own it, and it'll still be a blight on the community. And just as like you fighting against blight in your district, I'm charged with fighting it in mine, and I don't want a 2-week holdover in fighting blight in District 2. And I put a 2-week holdover on you in your district, fight blight in your district.
I don't have any historic properties.
It wouldn't have to be historic, any property. If it was blight.
We get you.
So we got a motion and a second for a 2-week holdover. 3-week holdover. So if you vote for it, that's for the holdover. If you vote against it, that's against it. I'm gonna make sure I'm clear for me. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
That's 2. All those in opposition?
Opposed.
That's 5. That motion dies, fails. Now we're back on to the main issue. Is there a motion?
Motion's already on the floor.
Motion on the floor.
It says properly second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
In opposition?
Opposed.
The motion passes 5-2.
It's something else,
In the wiring or something.
It's yours. I think y'all are sabotaging my mic.
Might be a sign. All right, Madam Secretary. Keep your mic off, Joel.
It's been Joel all the time.
You're not silent.
I love it.
Okay, resolutions held over. Are there any objections to any of these resolutions held over?
No, ma'am.
Is it okay if I take them all together? Okay. 09842, rescind and supersede resolution 09005, allocating monies from capital project Airport Boulevard to sidewalks Airport Boulevard. 09843, reallocate monies from C0077 to acquisition recycle center. 09844, reallocate monies from capital project citywide roof repairs to capital project front Gulf Quest roof repairs. 21845, authorized contract with McCory and Williams for sidewalks along Bitten Spur Road. 21846, authorized contract with C. Thornton for construction sidewalks along Bitten Spur Road. 21847, authorized contract with T. Batchelor and Son for Western Administrative Complex garage HVAC replacement. 21848, authorized contract with R. Carter and Associates for vent hood cleaning, Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. 21849, authorized contract with Sanders Highland Corporation for City of Mobile, Alabama Cruise Terminal Lobby Carpet. 21850, authorized contract with H&H Electric Company for Mobile Museum of Art Intelligent Lighting Control System upgrades. 25851, accept 1 right-of-way deed and 3 permanent sidewalk easements for the McGregor Avenue Sidewalk Project Phase 2.
So move.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I would like to comment on the funding, authorizing the contract on the sidewalks on Benton Spur Road. This will put sidewalks on the west side of Benton Spur Road, excuse me, between Old Shell Road and University Drive. There are some places where sidewalks already exist, but there are residential neighborhoods all along here on both sides of that street. But it does serve as a connector between a little village business area at Benton Spur and Old Shell Road, and then the businesses up on University, and particularly E.R. Dixon Elementary School. We have a lot of children that live in these neighborhoods that are currently walking along the side of the road to get up to E.R. Dixon, which in the mornings and the afternoons there's a lot of traffic out there. So this is a great project. It's funded primarily through a State of Alabama TAP grant, Transportation Alternative Program grant. The match was provided by funds raised through the Village of Spring Hill, largely through their walkathons, and it ended up needing a little CIP money from District 5, but it's a very good project. It's been a long time coming. We've had ups and downs with it, but I'm happy we're approving these contracts, and hopefully the construction will start soon. Thank you.
Any further comment? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Ordinance has been introduced for the first time, 14034.
My council rules this ordinance would level for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03868 through 58856.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 03868 through 58856.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There's no objection. I'll take them all together. 03868, reappoint Joy Klotz, Richard Davis, and Sam Strada to the History Museum of Mobile Board. 31852, authorize the mayor to accept and receive funding from the Homeland Security Grant Program, no local match. 37853, 854, and 855 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a special events retail license for Prestige Events Center on Howes Ferry Road, for issuance of a retail beer, table wine, off-premises only license for EG Convenience Store on Kellogg Street, and for issuance of a lounge retail liquor class 1 license for Post on Dolphin Street. 58856 is assess cost for removal of weeds, repeat weedling group 24.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21857 through 21859.
Motion to suspend rules for immediate consideration of resolution 1857 and 859, and by council rules 21858 with levels for 1 week.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21857, authorized contract amendment with Terracon Consultants for Florida Street and Dome Street drainage improvements, adding $25,000. 21859, authorized contract with CRV Surveillance for Rickaby Recreation Center security cameras, $9,490.
So moved.
Second. Probably motion and second. Any discussion? I'm glad to see 21859 security cameras going in at Rickaby Recreation Center. We've got a nice playground that's been planned for that recreational center as well. It'll really be a special place in the heart of the district, and these cameras will add a much needed level of security. And so this is a great, and I'm glad to see some CIP resources I've had since 2017 have been allocated to upgrade the security of that river. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 09860 through 46864.
I'm going to ask, would you permit me to vote on 46864? We have with us today Mr. Warren Green. He's the Assistant Director of the University Hospital, and we also had Jan Erkman, Director of Communications at the University Hospital. This is an urgent matter for them. And can I vote on this one today?
Yeah.
No objection.
No objection.
Okay. Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of 46864, and the rest of those resolutions would lay over for 1 week by council rules.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution.
Passes.
Pardon
me. Go ahead.
Resolution 46864, change name of USA Medical Center Drive to University Hospital Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
All right.
Call for public hearings, 41865, call for public hearing to approve the application of Sandra Page, doing business as Page Independent Transportation, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle service scheduled January 3rd. 41866, call for public hearing to rezone property at 5188 and 5208 Mobile South Street, north side of Mobile South Street, 650 feet east of Business Parkway, from B5 to I1, scheduled January the 8th, 2019. 41867, call for public hearing to rezone property at 5205, 5225, and 5245 Business Parkway, east side of Business Parkway, 475 feet north of Mobile South Street, from B5 to I1, scheduled January 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Announcements. The City Council meeting of December the 18th will be held at the Mobile History Museum at 111 Royal Street.
All right. Mr. Small.
Oh, thank you, Vice President. Manzi. A couple of weeks ago, I believe you had made a comment, Vice President, that District 2 was going to have the best Christmas celebration in the city.
That's right.
Well, last evening, District 3 held its, I guess is our 5th annual Christmas event at the Maryville Elementary School, and we had over 400 people to attend on last evening, and we didn't even run out of food either. And we was entertained by the Gilliard Elementary School, Craighead Elementary School, of course, Maryville Elementary School. We was also entertained by the Pillins Middle School, and also BC Rain High School had entertained us on last evening. It was a great success. We also had collected items for seniors that's within the district that do not have people during the holiday season. So we'll be able to share the holidays with them. And again, it was on last evening at the Maryville Elementary School. And I'd like to thank all the schools, all the volunteers that came out on last evening to help to celebrate the holidays in District 3. Again, it was a great success.
Push the button to the left on the wall.
The green button over there to the left wall.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. A great success on last evening. Also on tomorrow evening, I will be speaking at the Admiral Sims Hotel, Malls, Mobile Air Water Sewer System. Is hosting a banquet on tomorrow night with its DBE program, Small Minority Business. and they asked me to be their guest speaker, and I was able to tell them that I would be happy to do it. And again, that would be on tomorrow evening at 6:00 p.m. at the Admiral Sims Hotel. And of course, this coming Saturday is our fifth annual Parades of Threes, which is coming down DIP. It will start at 2:00 p.m. at the BC Rain High School, and we will travel northward on DIP, and we will disband at the Pillins Middle School. This had in conjunction with Representative Barbara Drummond, and because they have the state had redistricted its lines, district lines, we also brought in Representative Adeline Clark this year. So it's the three of us putting on this annual parade. We're inviting the citizens, not just in District 3 or House 97 or House 103, but the whole entire city to come out this coming Saturday and look at the beauty that's along Dolphin Island Parkway. Last year, we had a crowd of 17,000 people. Councilman Richardson, that's good, be a new parade, within the city.
That's good.
And just in case you haven't heard, Councilman Richardson, we got this for you too.
It was 10 days before Christmas, and what did I see? The Parade of the Threes on DIP, hosted by these three: State Representative Barbara Drummond, Councilman C.J. Small, and State Representative Adeline Clark. Alabama House District 103 and District 3 host their third annual Parade of the Threes, Saturday, December 15th at 2 p.m. The parade starts at BC Rain High School. State Representative Barbara Drummond, Councilman C.J. Small, and State Representative Adeline Clark invite you to their third annual Parade of the Threes.
It's the fourth family he was making. This is an old tape right here, but the point is Trinity Garden do not have nothing on District 3. That's the point. And again, wishing everyone a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. We would not be televised on next week. So again, everybody's out there on TV, YouTube, etc. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, especially to you, District 3, and I'll see you Saturday at the 4th annual, not the 3rd, the 4th annual Parades of Threes. Thank you.
Now, we would give him credit for having another of all Christmas celebrations, but we had 60,000 people at the Trinity Garden Parade.
70 years plus old.
You got time. You have time.
Mr. Davis?
No announcements.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes, just to be brief, because I want to be able to thank the Senior Center staff at the Connie Hudson Senior Center for helping to make the breakfast that took place last Thursday such a success, and I know they worked very hard. To Ron Prater, who did the catering, again, thank you to them and to all the citizens that came out. It was really a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rich. Mrs. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. A couple of announcements from District 7, and I'm happy to see Pastor Rembert, who came in. On Sunday, I was pleased to be a part of a really big celebration that the church had, their 60th anniversary at Smith Memorial AME Church in Hillsdale. And it was really truly a blessing that Reverend Smith could be with us that day. Back on December 7th, 60 years ago, he was able to open the first church, and it wasn't in Hillsdale then. The first actual building was in Mobile Terrace on 4th Street. But eventually, he found some other property, and they built the church Hillsdale right on Fellhorn and Rosalind Drive, and it has grown ever since. So it was a wonderful celebration. I was able to bring greetings and provide a proclamation for the church, and it was really great to see everyone that day. And thank you, Pastor Rembert, for being here and for inviting me to be a part of that very special celebration. Last night, I had a Christmas meeting. It is my annual Christmas meeting, and because I didn't invite 5 schools to come and participate, I didn't have all those parents, Councilman Small.
That's right. And Grandma.
They still citizens of District 3.
Yeah,
Praise
but
God.
when you got the kids performing, the parents tend to come. I had the Mary B. Austin singer. Some of those parents did come with the singers last night. So it's always great to be able to showcase, especially the little ones, to entertain us, and they were terrific always. Big thank you to everyone at the museum, Deborah Velders and her staff, for always doing such a super job in hosting us. They are a very gracious host to allow us to come in and hold these meetings and then to help clean up after the event. The mayor was there, John Peavy, the Assistant Chief of Police, Clay Godwin, Mobile Fire Rescue Chief, Mark Seeley, and they also brought some of their personnel we recognized. Commissioner Connie Hudson was with us. She was able to speak about their Love Your Community campaign that is ongoing countywide, that two of my community action groups were actually the first two to sign up in the entire county, so we got to recognize them. Representative Chris Pringle was with us, and of course the community action groups and homeowners associations from the district were there, and we recognized them. We took some photos and we'll be sending those out. So again, a really nice celebration, great food and fellowship, as we always do at our Christmas meetings in District 7. And again, a big thank you to everyone who came out and gave their time to be a part of this celebration. And that is it from District 7, Mr. Chair.
All right, Mrs. Gregory. Mr. Williams?
Thank you. I too would like to offer a very Merry Christmas in that we may not be able to be seen by everyone on the 18th, but we're going to do everything we can to, through the City of Mobile City Council Facebook page, publicize our meeting at the museum. There is limited space at the museum, so those wanting to be inside the main room would need to get there a little bit early. It is a tradition for us that I always look forward to, but please, before next week, find the City of Mobile City Council Facebook page, and if you're following it, you'll be able to find us very easily on Tuesday to watch the proceedings of the council meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to talk a little bit about the New Year's Eve celebration. And we have chosen as our theme this year, We Are Family, that all of our citizens in the city of Mobile comprised of one big family. So we decided to invite Sister Sledge to help us drive that point home. And since CJ had his recording, okay, just want to give you that's a sample of what's going to be going on New Year's Eve night. For those of you who want to look at the schedule at home, Google Mobile New Year. Mobile New Year. Just Google that, and then you're there. And you can see the. But I want to go to the schedule for you to know what's going to go on New Year's Eve night. It's going to start at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, there will be a beer garden open in Bienville Square as you facing Dolphin Street. Then we're going to have food trucks all the way on Bienville Square. We're going to have the committee from the Bicentennial Committee. You know, Alabama's going to celebrate its 200th anniversary with the coming of the new year. So they're going to join us here in Mobile on New Year's Eve night to help celebrate the coming of the new year. So they're going to have a resolution wall for those people who want to make a commitment and state what their hopes and dreams going to be for the new year. So they're going to give you a pen and you write it on the resolution wall. But then in the Riverview Hotel courtyard, we're going to have David Brinston. David Brinston is going to start playing some of his Super Soul hits to get everything warmed up, getting ready for the cutting of the moon pie at 8:30. At 8:30, the Chattanooga Bakery is going to have a transfer truck to bring the world's largest edible moon pie downtown in the Riverview Hotel courtyard. It's a stage going to be up there, and Matt Simpson and I are going to cut the moon pie at 8:30. It's going to be the cutting of the moon pie. And We're going to have, the music going to be playing while all that's going on. But at 9 o'clock, we're going to get ready for our second line parade. We're going to leave the courtyard at 9 o'clock. Last year we left too early. We're not leaving. We're going to leave on time. We're going to have the Port City second liners. They're going to have the brass band. They're going to lead us off, and we're going to march from the courtyard of Riverview Plaza all the way to the stage. We're going to, and we're asking the public to join in and fill up the street with the parade, so all the citizens can join us as we leave there and go over to the stage. And we're going to get to the main stage. We're going to have remarks. Ms. Simpson and I are going to go on the stage, and we're going to have remarks, and we're going to honor our sponsors. And it'll be time then for the opening act at 9:30. And the name of the group, this is a brass band. The name of this group is Everybody's Here. Everybody's Here is going to kick and go from 9:30 to 11. At 11 o'clock, Sister Sledge is going to take to the stage, and she's going to rock us on in to midnight. And at midnight, we're going to drop the moon pie. We're going to have fireworks. We're going to have a laser light show, and we're going to have a time downtown Mobile. So I'm asking you to get ready, especially get ready for such. And if you don't think you can contain yourself, bring your seatbelt, buckle yourself in, because she's going to rock the house.
Councilman Manzi.
Mr. Small?
I'd like to ask Ms. Richardson, is the moon pie drop, is that's put on by the city events Mobile? Yes. Or District 1?
No, but the city Mobile and events Mobile.
What about District 1? Oh, okay.
District 1.
The parade put on by District 3. Yeah. And one more thing, Deacon. You said the beer garden. You going to be drinking beer, Deacon?
No, but it's for those who will.
Fred don't drink. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have so much to be thankful for here in the city of Mobile, and as we close out the year, out of very exciting events. I'm proud of the Parade of Threes. I was at the first one. I'm going to try to make this one, and proud of this moon pie spectacular. I'll probably more than likely be at watch night, but by the time I ride through the city of Mobile coming home, I'll see the fireworks and the laser light show, and so it's always great. I hope you take time and avail yourself of all of these wonderful opportunities here in our district. I want to say Merry Christmas to all, Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. Well, I hope you had a happy one since it's over. And on December 17th at the Ville Center, the real Christmas fellowship will take place, December 17th, where the show will be on the road at the Ville Center at 6 o'clock. My neighborhood association presidents have been working on this program for about 2 months, and so I invite all of my colleagues to come and share. I really slipped my mind. I would have come on over to Maryvale on last evening, because I've seen pictures, and it seems like it was a big crowd, and I'm proud of that. So December 17th, Ville Center at 6 o'clock for District 2. All of our leaders in District 2 are welcome, and I want to recognize a leader in District 2 who was instrumental with me and instrumental with this council, Ms. Maddox. Ms. Patricia Maddox is here. She worked here a long time. Let's give her a big round of applause. She was the executive secretary for the council for a long time. Did an outstanding job. And Ms. Fowler is right there marching right along, and we thank God for her and for Ms. Maddox and the whole city clerk staff that does such an awesome job for all of us. Yes. Did you have something else, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. I forgot to say last week, Councilman Small and I joined with with Councilwoman Rich, Bess Rich, and lighting the menorah. And it was an outstanding event. It was kicking off Hanukkah, and we were allowed to participate. We did not count that lightly. We thought that was big for us to have a chance to participate in the lighting of the menorah. It's my first experience with that, and it was wonderful. I appreciate Councilman Rich for inviting us to that event.
Yes, and I put the photo in the newsletter that went out to my constituents.
That's great. That's wonderful. Any further announcements? Do I hear a motion?
I move. Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? No. Not all in favor? Meeting adjourned.